and I hope ignited curiosity. We've learned about sustainable development goals, artificial intelligence, finance, equity, accessibility, and beyond. As we conclude our journey this week, our focus is going to shift towards exploring career pathways within the fields of technology and AI. Kicking off our final session, we are honored to have Andreea Guigui with us. Andreea will generously share her personal journey spanning her involvement with teens in AI, navigating university life, securing internships within the tech sphere, and delving into the crucial domain of data privacy. Andreea, currently in her third year of studying artificial intelligence with a minor in data science and an honors degree, brings a wealth of experience to the table. Notably, she's making significant strides as an operational manager intern at Uber. With nearly 4 years of dedicated service as a Teens in AI ambassador, Andrea's passion lies in inspiring future generations to harness the transformative power of AI for positive change. Here to inspire you this evening, I welcome Andreea to the virtual stage. Welcome, Andreea.
Thank you so much for the introduction. And it's really nice to be able to be part as a speaker, because my journey first started as just being a participant, as everyone. And now it's really incredible to be able to give back what I received from others. So I will just start by sharing my screen really quickly in order to go through my presentation. So just to check, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, so you can see it.
Okay, great. So did you know that around 100,000 mini parts of the data were just living all around a single day? So yeah, that's how, in the end, data privacy began my whole journey in AI. Hi, I'm Andreea Guigui. I'm in my third year of studying of artificial intelligence with a minor in data science. Alongside my study, I was a teacher assistant and course coordinating for different courses in AI. And yeah, now I'm an EMEA Operations Intern at Uber. So how did my journey actually started? I started around in 2017 in doing at my high school of computer science. There I had the pleasure to for the first time starting understanding analytics, and of course to study C++. As any journey, it has ups and downs. So I started trying to join like robotics, Olympics, different competition around the school, but unfortunately I was failing. So don't get me wrong, I was like doing my hard work, I was like getting the high grades, but unfortunately I couldn't like really make the experience in the tech world and starting to doing an actual project. But everything started to change in the second I received in 2019 an email from Microsoft telling me that they have a collaboration with Teens in AI to create a Girls in AI hackathon in my capital. So when I heard it, I was a bit skeptical for two reasons. One, I need to convince my parents to drive 8 hours in the capital for me to be there. And second, I needed to come up with an AI solution in order to tackle one of the problems to be able to join the hackathon. At that point, I thought, okay, for sure, the first one is way more harder. But to be honest, my parents were really agreeing really easy because they thought that is a great opportunity for me. But they had like to say that if I actually managed to join, they would be okay with it. So while I was doing my research on trying to come up with different ideas, I found out that AI is totally something different than the sci-fi idea I had in my mind. So because of that, I started to look about different research, what AI had already been created in order to understand what actually AI is. Then I managed to somehow come up with an idea of AI and sign up and join the hackathon. It was an absolutely amazing event. I had the pleasure to meet so many girls that were passionate about AI and technology, mentors that were just there to like inspire us to give back what they learned during their journey in the tech world, and as well some motivational speakers that, to be honest, they simply changed the way I was thinking about technology. That simple hackathon managed to convince me that, okay, indeed, I'm part of the tech world and I can make my name, let's say, in the AI file. But that was 2019 in December. So in 2020, COVID hit. Another challenge came from TeamCNA, which was trying to somehow do youth versus COVID, where they were trying to implement the idea of trying to solve the biggest problem raised by COVID with AI. I joined the 9 days hackathon, but that was an interesting, let's call it journey, because I started working with my team. It was a great opportunity to work with amazing people from different parts of the world. So what we did, it was in the end that, okay, what's the biggest problem raised by COVID? At that point, we realized that maybe education was the file that was most affected, due to the fact that we weren't used to learn online. We were like in person all the time. So we were thinking, okay, we are all students. Of course, we know what's the biggest problem in education. Of course, we know what will be the best solution at that problem. So we came up with the idea of doing an AI tracking in order to understand who is focusing during a lecture, so that maybe teacher will be able to change their way of transmitting the information to get more attention. So we jumped into tech. We were tackling it, but of course, as we come up to a problem that, okay, we are doing the AI, it's amazing, it's like going well, but how are we going to actually store the data? So the team was like telling us that maybe we could go on Twitter and ask, and someone will help us. To be honest, I was skeptical because I didn't have a lot of followers on Twitter to actually be able to receive some information. So I was like, okay, let's give it a try at least. And the funny part is that someone actually helped us and give us an idea on how to store some data. The not so funny part was the next day I wake up with, I'm not exaggerating, thousands of comments, messages that were telling us that we have the most horrible idea, that no one in the world will ever use it, and why AI wants to do something like that. So basically, it was, to be honest, at 18 years old to receive something like that was devastating. So did I want to give up? Yes. Did I do it? Nah. I wasn't not able to like just miss an opportunity because we did a really huge mistake. So what we did was like, okay, this is our mistake. How can we learn from it? So our next move was to set up a lot of video calls with Elena, with our mentors, with different people from the ethical perspective, the human rights. And so at least to understand, okay, what was wrong? So what was wrong in our project? First, the most important thing was that we are filming constantly students, which was a lot of personal data, which for a student perspective is really harsh in a way or another. Then the second one was the fact that being focused doesn't mean the same thing for everyone. We all consider that focusing means that to look in your laptop, but maybe you're focusing looking down because you're taking notes, or some people are maybe focusing looking in another way because that's how they are thinking. Of course, the third one is being giving on the idea that, okay, we are giving the opportunity to teacher to like minimize or maximize a grade based on our data, which might be wrong at some moments. The fourth one was that while we are doing the eye tracking, we are not just storing data about eyes, we're storing data about background, which is a lot of information as well. And five, it was, we didn't actually took in consideration any possible client opinion. We just took ours. So of course, the main thing that we needed to do was to create a survey. So we jump into creating a survey. We talk with a lot of people to be sure that we create the right question. We went back in the internet, and overnight we managed to get 164 responded. We analyzed the data. We understood that indeed that wasn't the problem that we identified. The actual problem was the internet connection. Because, like, let's be honest, how many times in a meeting you're like, sorry, can you repeat? So that was indeed a problem. So we saw that that's a problem, we come up with the solution, and we managed to win the first place in the hackathon. But what did we actually learn from this win? The most important thing, in my opinion, was that we need to put the client first. We always need to go over our clients and see what is their actual problem. It's not okay to just assume that, okay, I'm working there, of course I know what's the problem, or that my problem is everyone's problem. It's really important to just go to them and like find out from multiple perspectives what's the actual problem. Then, of course, we need to consider the ethical part and the human part, because not everyone is the same. And when we create an idea, we should try to imply everyone in order to actually create that change in the world, not to harm some specific people. But I didn't just stop there. I became a moderator for Teens in AA to be able to give back what I was receiving during that hackathon. So I helped them organize some global hackathons. Then again, I couldn't stop. So I became an ambassador and I created my own project in Romania in order to give back to my natal country something that we learned. So I created there some hackathons to try to inspire teenagers through the idea of changing the world with AI. Then the best part, to be honest, it was that I was able to get in my dream university at Amsterdam and study artificial intelligence. So yeah, okay, that was my interesting journey, but how exactly, and you can see for sure how exactly data privacy in a way or another shaped the way I was going there. Because if I wouldn't saw that one mistake with ethics and human rights, it would be impossible that maybe I wouldn't won the hackathon. And second, I wouldn't even had the opportunity then to work with Instant AI and be where I'm right now. But to get more details about all this, what exactly is personal data in the end? So in a really fancy definition is any information that relates to an identified or identifiable living individual. So what maybe that means is that, okay, my name, for example, is a personal data because it's describing me. So that's my personal data. So of course, some normal one will be name, email, phone numbers, username, because that's my specific thing. Some deeper ones that maybe they are not so used to be personal data are, for example, search history, or your search in the smart TV, or our voice when we are talking with Siri. And one of the most interesting one that I learned during my studies was that even our walking is something you need. So basically, if we have a camera in front of our lecture hall, let's call, that's even like gathering personal data, because he knows based on your work who is who. So other some aspects of this personal data in the law, so that when I'm going towards it will be easier to understand, is that we have the idea of controller and processor. So controller is one person or entity of company, which is basically trying to see, okay, what actually data we want to do and what is the purpose of getting this data? What's the final goal? While the processing, the only thing that they are able to do is that, okay, we get the data from the controller and we need to do some processing transformation of the data in order to end up to the goal of the controller. So they are not able to decide anything or collect data more. Okay, then my biggest question after having all this information was, okay, what is actually a really important factor on the engineer's perspective for like ethics or data privacy? So digging up and doing a course in data privacy, I understand that like the only law which will be really specific for our tech world will be the paragraph 25 from GDPR, which is data privacy by design and by default, which basically what it actually means is that by design, we want when we are thinking the whole solution and we are creating this technology to think about something that will minimize the way we are getting data. So basically, when we are creating a solution, we want to be sure that we are not getting data that maybe our purpose is not there. Like we don't get data just maybe I will need it in the future. No, we are only getting data that we need for our purpose actual. And then by default means that from the beginning of the app, when as a client I'm logging in the app, I'm making sure that the minimal level of getting data is there. Is like I'm trying to not check all the boxes to the data. Just if the client wants like a new feature or a new addition, can check to get more data from there. But okay, this will be a lot of text, very complicated, but it can split up really easy in 7 really understandable rules. One is that when we are creating something, it needs to be lawfulness, fairness, and transparent. What this means is that when we have an application, we need to be really transparent of, okay, what data are we getting from our client? What are we going to do with that data? And after we get the data, what's going to happen? Is there any benefits or anything? So the company role here is to be able to say, okay, to the client that we are getting this data and we are using for this purpose. So they need to be really transparent about this part. Another thing is purpose limitation. What this means is that we are only getting data for the purpose that the application has. For example, in my example, I only get the data for the eye tracking was like just the eyes, not the background, not anything, for example, just to make it more understandable. Then data minimization is talking about the idea of if it's possible to get less data and still get the goal, get less data. Don't get more just to be in another level, try to get as less as possible. Accuracy is another important one, so that we let our client to change the data if it's incorrect, or we are constantly checking it just to be sure that it's accurate and we don't have any wrong data. Another one will be storage limitation, which is actually meaning that we should not store data more than it's necessary. So for example, for the application with eye tracking, if I'm just detecting that, okay, that person is not focused, afterward, I should just delete the data. I shouldn't like stay and store it for like years and years. No, we should try to limitate that part in order to be sure that we are not using too much data to identify persons. And then, of course, we have integrity and confidentiality and accountability, which is mainly focusing on the fact that if you're using that much data and something wrong is happening, you need to be accountable for what's happening. But yeah, I'm talking a lot, so I will just give you keep in mind rules, which is like just have your client in mind. Don't forget about ethics because not everyone is the same. Human rights are really important, even though they sound a bit boring. They are really important steps that could help you build something that is not harmful, but actually something that will create impact. And never give up because you never know what's going to happen if you don't give up and just learn from that experience. So thank you for having me. It was great. And yeah, if you have questions, please feel free.
Thank you so much, Andrea. I think having you as one of our Teens in AI ambassadors is one of the best things that ever happened. Just your energy and your commitment to everything is incredible. I would like to kick off the Q&A section by asking, as we approach our local techathons, if you could give one piece of advice to the participants who'll be joining and building projects, what would that advice be?
Yeah, I think my biggest advice to even like my teenagers from the competition that I'm doing right now is I know coding is exciting because we are in this tech world, but don't jump into it. Try to just take a moment to think, okay, what's actually a really big problem in the specific file you're going on? And even if you're like trying to, you can do that from research or doing surveys or interviews with people. So I will go first to the idea of, okay, what's the problem? And after I have the problem, I will create the solution. Because I see that teenagers and everyone that at the beginning of the road, we are jumping towards the idea, okay, I want to do this. And we already have the solution, but we didn't consider yet first the problem and then create the solution. So I think my biggest advice is just take a bit of step back, take your time, and then actually create something.
Great, thank you so much. Our next question comes from Michael. I'm going to be a mentor for the IWD Techathon next month. As someone who was a student, do you have any suggestions? Was there anything that you felt was missing from the mentors, or alternatively, was there something that your mentors did that had a rememberable positive impact?
Oh, this is an interesting one. So, to be honest, my mentor had a really huge impact towards me. For example, in my first hackathon, I still remember one mentor who literally stayed near me during the whole hackathon to help me understand some JSON file in Python, which for me back then it was like a new word. So yeah, and in my second hackathon, I still remember that other mentors were basically staying with us to have the talks and to just guide us a lot. So I think the most important thing that I got from our mentor is their time. Like simply just stopping from their really messy work, let's say, with a lot of responsibility and just coming up for students to talk with them about one, their experience in the work that they have, and second, like just hearing us up about what solution we have in mind, what we want to create, how we want to create it, and just like a bit track us in the right path is like so inspiring already and helps a lot because I still see the impact that my mentors had back then in even university that I'm doing right now, because I learned a lot from what they were doing as in their career, but also how they were guiding us towards the good solution.
Great, thank you so much. I hope that answers your question, Michael. Next up, where do you see the future of data privacy and AI heading, and how do you envision your role in that trajectory?
This is a good one. To be honest, I can see for sure that we are trying more and more to implement more rules in the idea of data privacy, human rights, in order to, in a way or another, be sure that people, when are building AI especially, are really safe. But it's still, technology involves so much, it's so something that going so fast, which make it really hard for the law perspective, which is more critical, to change and adapt in the fastest way. So it's definitely a bag there that is staying and a lap of like protection. But I always thought in the idea that it's so important for like the engineer perspective to always build something with people in mind and try to, even though if it's not a law there, we still should like have that in mind that we don't want to harm people and we should try to minimize every perspective. And on what I can say about my role, even though I'm not a a person that right now I can do a really big impact, I think the only thing that I'm doing now, and at least I'm trying to, is to try at least give this perspective of data privacy, data limitation to the teenagers that I'm having now in the mentoring program, and just explaining to them how important it is, why it's important, and how to go through to creating the solution that is like important for the client, not to like harm them. So I think right now that's the only way I can impact in a way or another, by just ensuring that I teach the people that I can teach. For example, even this talk, I hope I manage to teach them something. But also maybe my work, I managed to somehow create some AI models, not there because I didn't finish this, that, and into my company that everyone knows how to implement them in the correct way, at least as much as I can.
Great, thank you so much. We did lose you for a few seconds there. I think maybe the connectivity was lost a little bit. Are you back with us?
Was lost, to be honest. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Great, great. Welcome back. So our next question comes from YouTube. Are there emerging technologies or trends in the field that particularly excite or concern you?
Right now, if there exists some technology.
Sorry, would you like me to re-ask the question?
Yeah, please.
Sure, let me read it. Are there any emerging technologies or trends in the field that particularly excite or concern you?
I mean, there are a lot because as always, there are some new tech coming, especially with the new meta world that is coming, to be honest. But I think even like just the minimized idea of social media is something that will always concern me. Much data we just live through our daily just scrolling. And as well, even if I need to speak about a new technology that just raised up, I think the new Vision Pro from Apple is something that right now I'm concerned when I'm talking about data privacy, because I don't know how much that data they are actually getting when we are wearing them every day and their camera are full constantly on. They're using the technology, but it's definitely something that I had in mind that it might be a lot of data that is just going on. But yeah, social media will always be one of my first main concern on how much data we just leave there without even knowing, because it's been for a long time, and people when we create our accounts in the past, we weren't really used to these big transformations that they understand we let their get in our lives, let's say. I think that's
Oh, I think we have lost Andrea. Unfortunately, I'm not too sure her connectivity may have dropped off. So I think I'm going to take that opportunity. Oh, Andrea, are you back? Okay. What I'm going to do then is keep your questions coming to Andrea, and as soon as she's back, I'll ask her to type responses to all the questions. But thank you so much, Andrea, for sharing all your insights.
Yo, what's up?
Hi, Tebogo.
What's going on?
Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Great. Thank you so much for confirming. I would now like to introduce our next speaker for the evening. Hailing from Mamelodi, South Africa, Tebogo Tariq Mogola is not just a creative director, but a master storyteller who weaves together elements of urban culture, television, and documentary to create narratives that captivate and inspire. With a knack for demystifying the creative process, Tebogo will take us inside the mind of a creative director, shedding light on how ideas can evolve into innovation. His portfolio speaks volumes about his talent and dedication, having garnered recognition from global powerhouses like Paramount Pictures and Viacom CBS, as well as from local institutions such as SABC and MultiChoice. Through emotionally charged storytelling, Tebogo's work transcends boundaries, leaving a lasting impact that resonates on both local and international stages. In a session titled Inside the Brain of a Creative Director, From Ideas to Innovation, Tebogo will not only share his personal experiences in navigating creative challenges, but also share how AI can play a pivotal role in generating fresh ideas, brainstorming compelling storylines, and analyzing audience preferences. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Tebogo. Tebogo, the stage is yours.
Good vibes. Thank you so much. Cool. Let me just jump on and share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Oh, good. Okay, cool. Yeah, we jumping into my mind, I guess, in this case, because I'm the creative in this space. Sounds very like ER, and then you're going into my mind. There's a whole lot of compartments of ideas and all sorts of crazy stuff. Cool. For me, it's a matter of where am I from? I'm from Mamelodi Township in South Africa. And what am I about? If there's one word that sums me up is optimistic. I'm an optimist. And then what do I bring to the game and everything? I don't want to be a master of anything. I want to remain a student of urban culture. Cool. I touched on my origin story is I'm a boy from Mamelodi. Look up Mamelodi on Google. You'll find that it's known for drugs. It's known for gun violence. But the up and inspiring thing that it's known for also is the one of the best teams in Africa. And out of all of that stuff, you need to be inspired by your surroundings. You need to be inspired by your day-to-day and try and vision yourself, not just from the area that you're from, but beyond that. Cool. I don't think we put so much emphasis anymore on dreaming, because the reality is I'm here because I'm a dreamer, and I think that should be like encouraged on a daily. As much as we talk about health, we talk about having like the right state of mind and mental health and all these things, but we need to still stay rooted in believing that we are far more beyond than what we are capable of doing at the moment, you know. So I live by the pillars of I'm big onto technology. I love my music. I love urban culture. I love gaming. And those are like everyday evolving things. There's music that's been released on a daily. There's games that are being worked on currently. There's tech that keeps evolving on a daily. And urban culture is literally all facets of everything. So that means I do things based on the two C's, which is either a conversation piece or a cultural piece. Say a movie gets released and we're talking about Fast and Furious, I would either watch it based on I'm big into cars, so that it remains a cultural piece for me. And if it's not for culture, it's going to be for conversation. So that when someone says, yo, did you watch that Fast and Furious? I'm like, yeah, I've seen it, or I've seen the trailer. So always being in the know of everything that's happening around you. And having hobbies, you need to have hobbies that push your mind, challenge your mind, you know. And one hobby that I have is collecting sneakers. Started collecting sneakers, I want to say maybe it's like close to 15 years plus now. And I saw that the hobby turn into business, turn into an event that I have with a co-founder of mine, Zaid. We've got an event called Sneaker Exchange, where like-minded sneaker lovers come together to explore, talk about our journeys into the sneaker game. And more than that, and you get to realize that it's people from all different walks of life, you know. So that's why I'm saying the importance of dreaming, the importance of hobbies that sort of challenge your mind, and just hobbies that sort of like create a rabbit hole into getting to learn more, getting to explore more. Cool. I've been blessed enough to work on some of like key cultural pieces in the country in South Africa that sort of like moved the needle into the entertainment space. One of the The projects that I worked on was Grammy Award-winning Black Coffee, the DJs, live DVD as a creative director, Viewer Stress Awards for Multi-Choice, and one of the biggest highlights for me was working on a I want to say local indie local film, like a low budget film that I did with like a late friend of mine, Ricky, which was also a cultural shifter, you know. And more than that, I dabble into doing award shows. I recently just finished wrapping up a season of the international franchise Idols that was happening in South Africa. Cool. So this is some of the stuff that, as we dissect, I guess, my mind, that I envision in my mind or dream about, and find partners and like-minded people from different companies, co-workers and whatnot, that turn our ideas from paper into pixels. So this, I'm gonna just take you through some of the brands that I work with at Paramount Pictures Africa. Cool. So we often get approached by in this case, it's for a channel called Comic Central. We often get approached by literal NGOs, organizations that have like serious problems. In this case, we had a serious challenge, which is cancer. And they're like, through entertainment, how do you drive the message into the awareness? How do you get people to still engage and try and figure out support groups, figure out more about what the disease is about, and just have some sort of a community? And then we needed to look at this and go, cool, what do we do? How do we approach it? Let me just take you through that process. Cool. So we decided to work on like two campaigns. One of them was Booktober and November Balls. So for Booktober, the inspiration was looking at women wrestling. When you think of women wrestling, you think macho-ness, you think about literally just this whole world where these women are just like so strong and they can take on anything. Any opponent that comes into the ring is going to be a big showdown. And also touching on one of the cult movies that was great that came out years ago called Kick-Ass, and literally trying to find those two anchoring pieces and going, cool, where do we go with it? How do we unpack this into something that's going to resonate and is going to make sense for everybody? Cool. So we literally just said, and then through AI, you sit and you figure out, because back then we would easily just draw up stuff, figure out what a storyline is and come up with a storyboard. So now with literally the help of AI and stuff, you can literally just type in stuff that you're trying to achieve, and literally in like, if not even less than hours, you can get something that is like some sort of a foundation that you can work off. This is pretty much the storyboard for the ad that we put together for Pink Drive, the cancer campaign, which is October. Cool. Let me just play it for you.
I tell you, she's ready for this fight. Melissa says this cancer is underway. Cancer versus Melissa and the ropes. Simamo. But cancer counters. She rolls away. She goes in hard with a nutcracker, full of that devastating detail. It's over for cancer. You're born. Anti Melissa. Sharp as much as a sharp. The book's over. Save cancer to 1, 2, 3. It's as simple as taking yourself for any lumps or bumps.
Cool. That was Booktober, and then we're gonna go to November Balls. So through AI, we literally go into a space where we like, cool, we want to create like generic artwork, but we want to just take this campaign to make it very contemporary, very arty, something that's relatable, and something that is in a way in your face, but also getting you to think, you know. And this is what we unpacked with this campaign.
For your tap-teasy fan gonads, Africa's greatest artist. More famous than a three-legged zebra at a horse race, and that guy that painted naked people on a church ceiling. He has captured the attention and the imagination of the world. His art is famous in 180 countries, across 2 planets. People everywhere want to own a Van Gogh and will go to great lengths to get one. For 2 very good reasons. His flash nugget stamp technique inspired a nation and Savannah. And now, at the height of his fame, Voyle's art has taken an unwilling turn towards minimalism, propelling it to new frontiers. But testicular cancer will not get him down. Instead, he uses it to spread awareness and save on paint at the same time. Look after your gonads. They are priceless. Check yourself regularly for any lumps or changes and book a doctor's visit. Join the November's campaign and take care of your precious jewels.
Cool. This is what you can do, obviously, in using comedic relief or with something very serious and bridging that into delivering a very thought-provoking message. And yeah, cool. Carrying on to one of the channels that I really enjoy working on, which is BET. We worked on a campaign, and I guess the campaign was to actually just cement the idea that we always go, Africa is next. And in this way, we were actually just saying, no, Africa is actually not the future, it's actually the present. You know, our time is now, but also just bridging the community of just seeing Black excellence and just linking up people that are from different sort of sports fraternities, different art spaces, but bringing them together and just showing that someone from Africa and someone from the US or someone from the UK can literally be on mutual footing, because Africa is in global stages at the moment. We're in the cinemas, we're in Grammy Awards. There's so much that's happening and that's positive about our continent. And this was just a demonstration of ways to inspire us and just bridging that gap and showing that it's possible in a form of saying the real recognizes the real.
We've always known that real recognizes real. Miles away. The art of collaboration has always been our way. It's like second nature. Since Mama used to say, they play with the neighbors. It's gonna take more than borders to stop Black excellence, because it's everywhere. It travels at the speed of greatness. Yeah, it's everywhere. One Black extraordinaire is great, but it's better with 2. Minds connected like Bluetooth. Build this creative economy, this global community, this network. And if we don't make net together, it won't work. BET, that's why we bet on each other. One of a kind DNA found in me, sister or brother. Was real recognized real. And my G, you're looking mighty familiar.
Cool. So as part of Real Recognizes Real, it still touches on my ethos of like being a dreamer. And so that just for all of us to realize that our dreams are valid, but still comes with hard work, so that we can all just live our truth and bridge the gap and just represent where we're from also.
We've always known.
Cool. And then one of the brands that I'm working on is MTV, but our version of the African version of MTV, which is like MTV Base. This is something that's urban and youth facing. It deals literally 24/7 music videos, current literally trend forecasting, showcases some of the events that are taking place, showcases some of the cultural touch points that are happening. So it's one of those things of like, if you want to be in the know, this is the channel to watch, and it'll keep you trendy. It'll keep you just being plugged into what's happening in and around you. And we had to create, we've got something called Spanking New, which is premiere of all the music videos. And then through the use of like playing around with like CGI and AI, we got into a space where we wanted to create like a mad scientist that's got music laid into it, instruments and explosions. And all of that needs to still be translated by a team of graphic designers that come through with After Effects, put that all together for it to make sense, deliver a message, musically sound right, but also leave you thinking and also be memorable. And then not only are we actually making stuff like this is stuff that is worthy of awards. We've won countless Promex Awards, not just for Africa, but global also, just showcasing that some of the stuff that we make actually travels and it's literally needle shifting. Cool, quick, punchy, memorable, and on the pulse. Cool. And then also just touching on creating moods, creating literally landscapes, because it's like we all think as creatives and we've got like different ways of approaching things. If I say post-apocalyptic at the moment, some references that you think about will be like Tupac's California Love, Mad Max, like some of those type of stuff. It feels very dusty, it feels very flat and browny. Like that's what you see, you know, and then we go, cool, make it slightly urban, make it like slightly run down and edgy, and still deliver a message that is like a promo for like a music block. And then this is what we came up with. Cool, that's my bit. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. I personally was loving those videos and I wish they didn't have to end. I could watch them for hours. And I think also coming from a South African background, it's great to see the South Africanisms within each of those. It's really, really great. Thank you so much for sharing your work with us. I would like to kick off our Q&A with the audience. There are very likely people who are interested in going into the creative field and, you know, starting their journey into the creative field. What is one piece of advice you wish you would have heard when you were beginning your journey into the creative industry?
Geez, such a good question. Can I tell you what it is? We often think getting into a creative space, you actually need to learn certain things. And then by the end of what you would have studied for, whatever you would have learned in those couple of years, and now you can start doing and start creating. And I wish someone just literally would have just put a camera in my hand and said, cool, go shoot some stuff. And then I go out there, go shoot some stuff and come back and they go, yeah, this is how you frame, this is how you get the composition right. And literally, this is how you could easily be telling a story versus going at it and going, yo, I'm in this search of being creative versus creativity is every day. Creativity is you being aware of your surroundings. The bottle of water that you're drinking, somebody designed that bottle, somebody designed that label, the clothing that you're wearing, that logo, you know what I mean, the phone that you're using, those apps, and then you see it and you start seeing it around. So what you need to be doing at that time, and you're going, cool, if this is designed this way, if I had to interpret it in my own way, what would that look like? Versus I need to go study and take forever and come back and be creative. Literally start doing. That's my advice to anybody that wants to get into this game.
I think that's really great advice to take forward. And it's also, I mean, seeing things that you wouldn't normally see and how they are created. I think that's really important. I invite our audience to engage with Tebogo by opening the floor for questions. If you have any questions that you'd like to verbalize, you're welcome to raise your hands, or you can just add them to the Q&A chat. In the meantime, I'll get started with some of the questions that have come through so far. How could AI-powered tools like mood boards or music generators enhance your process?
Can I tell you what? I think when we all coming from this world of creative, it's in our heads, we are pressures, it's lived experience, it's what we would have experienced, and we need to sort of tell it in our own way. So it kind of makes the whole AI concept like, yo, what is this thing that's coming to disrupt our thought process? Like it's gonna mess up with the industry and whatnot. And I literally want to say, I don't think it's that. I think it's a matter of looking at it and saying, this is what I know, boxed, and then AI doesn't know boxed, knows triangle, doesn't know circles. It's like all over the place. So it's kind of like going, how do we even better collaborate with AI and come up with stuff instead of just letting it just come up with everything? There's ways of getting us, like I would take a couple of days coming up with a storyboard. But if using AI, I can get that storyboard in like literally a couple of hours. So but at the same time, I need to still cue it on where I'm trying to go. So I think it's finding collaborative ways and using AI to enhance what we are trying to do.
So allowing AI to collaborate rather than take the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Great. Our next question comes from YouTube. Do you believe AI will ultimately replace the role of the creative director? Well, I see this leads into the answer that you've just given us. Or do you see it as a powerful tool to enhance your creativity? Is there anything you'd like to add on that?
It's a tool, man. It's a tool. We still need lived experience. We still need that human touch. Up until it can tap into that, I think we're still safe. Yeah.
Great. Then our next question. Do you have to study AI in university to be able to build a creative career leveraging AI?
At the moment where we are with everything, I just feel like everything is on the net, to be honest with you. Whether it's figuring out how to do codes, how to get into AI, it's all there. But I guess if you're trying to go beyond and try and be, well, we're going to end up in a workspace forum type of thing, yes, you might need to find and go out there and search for like some sort of a qualification. But in my motto, it's literally start doing, look up stuff. Because by the time that you start getting into it, you would have figured out other things, other codes that are there that are going to assist in you trying to figure out where AI is going and all of that stuff,
Great. Then Aaliyah has asked the questions, what did you learn during your studies?
Jeez, I went to an institution called Boston Media House. I would have learned like the hardest thing for me was trying to do something called media law. But I realize it now, how important is it? Because you go into contracts, you go into copyrights, you go into so many things, and I'm touching on that so that we can come up with stuff, whatever crazy, amazing idea that you come up with. For some people is lucrative, some people it solves problems and all of that stuff. You need to guard yourself, you need to protect your ideas. Whatever you're going to be signing on or whoever you're going to be working for, you need to kind of like understand it from that perspective, or else I'll be leading you astray and saying just be creative and not think about how your livelihood and all of that stuff. Because once all of those things click, you'll be able to create, you'll be able to be a better place from earning and doing stuff that you really love.
Definitely. Aaliyah, I hope that answered your question. Our next question, what does the future look like for you?
Well, well, I always live in the present, that's number one. But the future, I think for me, is literally continuing to learn more, stay in the front lines of technical advancement in terms of what's happening in the creative spaces, being collaborative and empowering more, because I'm always accessible. I'm always keen to collaborate with up-and-coming people, whether it's advice or let's say helping them to do stuff. But it's actually collaborating more and doing more stuff, but not only just for in the continent, but actually taking our stuff beyond Africa.
I'm sure everyone would love to see your work go beyond Africa. I think that would be really great. Just a question from my side that I have now just suddenly lost. So I'll go on to the next question as I remember it. Sneaker exchange sounds really cool. Personal question, how many do you own?
Jeez. The best way to actually answer that is I think I can go on for a year and a couple of months without repeating a pair, because I've tried that. Literally just wear a pair a day and not repeat it for a year.
What is your favorite pair?
Ooh, that's like choosing my children. Can I give you a top three? Top three is Yeezy's been number one, from an innovative mind to actually seeing crazy designs come to life. Yeezys, they're great. Patrick Ewing's underdog story, because I'm also attached to stories of people. It's not just sneakers, it's literally the personalities that bring them together. And thirdly, a designer by the name of Jeremy Scott. He thinks out of this world. He's done some crazy stuff for Adidas. It's got wings, it's got lights, it's got all of that stuff. It's very busy, and I really love it because my mind is all colorful and not boxed, not circled, not triangled. It's all over the place.
Amazing. So if we ever need sneakers, we will come to you.
Definitely, definitely.
Our next question comes from YouTube. How do you see AI impacting the future of storytelling and content creation?
Can I tell you what, for me, I think, and I'll literally just challenge all the young people that are here. Imagine if you take a camera and you literally sitting up on one of the AI programs and you go, I want to create a story about a young kid that is literally trying to raise money for some charity or for like a soccer team. What would that look like? And you literally just go, that's the story plot. And you go, he loses the money from bullies. And then see what AI is going to create for you, which is like a script. And then you go try and follow that as plot points. And I still come back to my point. AI is going to take us far if we see it as a collaborative tool versus it's coming for our jobs, it's coming for this. The more we embrace it, we'll understand it better and we'll be able to further collaborate, exploit it, and do more out of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And as far as the tools go, you mentioned, Aaliyah, I'll come to you in 1 second. You mentioned that you use it a lot for storyboards. Is there any other AI that you use within your work?
So I think it's storyboards. And if you think about, let's say you're trying to design a movie poster, you're trying to design an event poster, it's those literally quick stuff that it's going to churn out that you're able to use in your daily operations, you know. But it's got to be like picked and around stuff, because you don't want to wait for like 7 days while AI is still coming up with something. And by the time that 7 days ends, you like, that's not what really, but this is not what I was really looking for, you know. So the idea that it comes, and if you really think about it, if we having a meeting, let's say at 9 a.m. in the morning, and we're going, hey guys, we got a project, we need to come up with something for Youth Day that is fun, that is innovative, and all of that stuff. Cool. Let's come back in a day or 2 days. That's like 4 hours later, you're waiting for a group of like 7 people that's going to come and have a meeting and figure out this thing, versus what are cool ideas that I can do for a youth event. And then AI just goes, boom. You just see all of those things and you start narrowing it down on what is realistic, what is doable, what speaks to the market that you're trying to speak to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you so much for sharing.
Oh, good.
Aaliyah, do you still have a question, and would you like to raise your hand again so that I can allow you to talk? If not, I'll move on to our next question. Great. I'll move on to the next question. Another question from YouTube. You mentioned sneakers. How do you think AI can impact the sneaker industry?
Jeez, that is a dope question. Can I tell you what? The same way that they'll give a design and say, hey, come up with a shoe. It needs to represent the city. It needs to represent this type of sports. For me, it's like the same thing. Put into AI, how do you come up with a sneaker that represents South Africa? You know what I mean? You know that the colors are going to give you red, blue, and white, maybe theme to the flag. And also, what are the things that you remember about South Africa? Some of the monuments, you know what I mean? The landmarks that are there into one thing, you know? So, and it'll actually just stitch that all together. And I think it'll be a great tool, because right now, as we speak, there's actually a Coca-Cola flavor that's got, it's AI made, you know, and then when you drink it, you're just like tapping into so many tastes and you're like, what is this? You know what I mean? And I'm so curious to literally just go to Coke and just, guys, how did you come up with this? And in my head, this is how I see it. They've like, you think of like Willy Wonka's factory, there's all these flavors, and they literally just went, blew up the whole factory. Whatever liquid that was left on the floor, that's what they scooped up and said, this is what AI made. You know what I mean? So I see that into fashion, I see that into sneakers because you like type into like, let's say you want to create a sneaker, like, yo, I want something for daily running, but it needs to be literally waterproof. It needs to have 3 amps, sort of when I'm running at night, cars are able to see me and go boom. You know what I mean? So you're gonna get so much creativity, you know what I mean, versus someone that needs to design it and they come with like version 2 or version 3 of this thing, like boom, this is my greatest creation, and we go, okay, cool, this is version 3, we're just gonna take it, versus AI will churn out like 10 versions of that. So it's welcomed, and I wish the big brands will embrace it, and maybe we'll have an AI collab sneaker soon if
That
it's
would
not
be
already in the works.
incredible, incredible. Coke has already done it, and now we need Puma, Adidas, and all of them to do it.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
We have time for one final question for you, Tebogo. How do you currently find inspiration for your creative project?
Jeez. I think more than anything, we think you need to literally go climb Everest and then you'll come back refreshed and creative. It's literally embracing everything, you know. So in South Africa, we've got load shedding, and I don't think we're the only country that has it. It's literally finding inspiration on the disadvantage of that and the positives of that, and literally finding inspiration in everything, you know. So look around you, challenge yourself, and for each and everything that you're experiencing, you're like, if you had to do it different, what would that look like? Never mind the money, never mind the limitations that you might have, but just say, if I had to make this in my cheap way and in my non-literally professional way, how would I go about it? And that's when you start getting your mind to think. And for me, I remain a student of anything that's new and anything that's happening. That's why I'm big into tech. When AI comes and whatever the next wave will be, I'll be there going, cool, what is the next wave? Okay, what is this meant to do for us? You know, so yeah, that's how I stay motivated, because as much as people are going to gym and training and being buff and all of that, I gotta train my brain, and I know that that's a thing that's going to leave me in good standing in the industry.
Great. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for taking the time to answer our questions. I can see a few more questions coming through, but unfortunately we won't have time to get to all of them. So I just would like to take a moment to say thank you so much for your time and your inspiration. It's really exciting to see the things that we can achieve in collaboration with AI, and it's really exciting to see that not everything within AI and tech involves coding. It can be completely creative, and it can be your passion projects. So we look forward to seeing your work even more. I will keep an eye out. Thank you so much. And everyone on the call, keep an eye out on a global scale. When you see Tebogo's name, remember, he has good sneakers.
But more than anything, man, thank you so much for the platform. And I think this is such a great initiative. We'll make noise about it, and I hope it's not the first or last one. We hope that we can actually just engage more and learn from different spheres. So I'll stay on, just keep checking on what other people have been saying about this. And I really, really think, and I commend all the organizers and everybody that's taking the time to do this, everybody on the call checking out this, spread the word. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so, so much. And with that, I would like to close our call for this evening. As we draw the curtains on what has been an extraordinary week filled with inspiration, learning, and thought-provoking discussions, I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to each of our speakers that have joined us this week. I would also like to express our deepest appreciation to all of you who have joined us throughout the week. I know the week has been quite long, but we have seen incredible questions coming from all of you and incredible engagement. Thank you so, so much. Oh, apologies, my computer went a bit weird there. Thank you all once again. And as this week draws to a close, we are not done yet. We still have our upcoming Techathons, which will be happening in March. So all the participants, mentors, judges, local ambassadors who are on the call, we wish you all the best within the last weeks before the Techathons. Thank you all so much, and I hope that you have a good morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are in the world. Thank you. Goodbye.